I'm expecting, like I said, every day, if she's dialing 5-6 hours, I'm expecting 4 to 5 leads every day. And throughout a week's worth of time, if for us, our KPI is about 25 leads for one signed contract. Mm-hmm. So I got a cold call that's going to work all week, and we should get us a contract that week.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Jamel Gibbs. Listen, today we have a special guest that's going to talk to us a little bit about how important it is to make offers over getting appointments. This is a strategy that every real estate investor needs to hear. In fact, with my investment business, we make offers over the phone. We don't necessarily go out and look at houses. You guys have heard me say that before. And this is how you run a virtual real estate investing business. So offers over appointments is what we're going to talk about today, and how you can implement that into your investment business. Brandon Barnes, what's up, man?
Hey, man, I'm well. How you doing?
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you, brother. I'm doing good.
Yeah, for sure. Excited to be here.
Awesome, man. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, man?
Yeah, so look, I started this business 2016. It was like kind of all by chance. Crazy situation. I just got married October 2015. Turned around 2 weeks later, was fired. 2 weeks later, was fired, and it just completely threw off everything that I had planned. I had this whole plan for myself, like I was gonna, go graduate from a big school, go into the corporate world, climb the ladder, get some money up, and find an opportunity to jump into, purchase a startup company or something. I just knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. I even took like 15 credit hours, like an entrepreneurship certificate program at Purdue, where I graduated from. And I jumped into the corporate world, and 3 jobs in a row, they got acquired. And that last stop, I landed back in Atlanta, and they fired me. And so by getting fired, in October, I reached out to a buddy I met in Pittsburgh, and I was like, what's that real estate thing all about? And he mentioned, hey, he had actually moved to Atlanta and I could come through. He had this mentor program, and, come through. I'm gonna learn all about wholesaling, how you can get into real estate, the biggest wealth building tool in the world with like little to no money. Just come through, gonna drop for dollars. And he just gave me a taste of that, and I was hooked. Early 2016, never looked back. So first 2 years, I'm driving all around Atlanta. Like, that's my home market, going to every appointment, speaking to everybody, really trying to just build rapport, talk about everything other than the property. And it worked, and I was doing deals, but it was always dependent on me actually being at the property. And it was a good week if I got out 5 offers. And so once I started to kind of realize, look, if I'm not getting out enough offers, I'm not going to have an opportunity to do deals. And so I wanted to replace myself. And I had a friend, a colleague that mentioned you can do deals over the phone. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't believe it. But my cold caller at the time, I felt like I could show him how to come up with the offer price just by looking at the map. And so I kind of built a script for him, and I wanted to get myself out of that position. And so, bringing him into that role is just, it had me try it out just to see if it was going to work. And sure enough, like as soon as I put him into that position, he started to send out a bunch more offers, kind of got up to 50 offers each and every week. We started to expect 2 signed contracts every week, every 25 offers, we were seeing a contract signed. Yeah. And so it was kind of made out of necessity. Like after about the first 2 years, when I wanted to grow the business and hire somebody to replace me, that my best team member was virtual anyways. And so, putting him on the phone, he just really was able to build a lot more rapport, a lot more people, and submit offers. And, it just started working. We did 7 figures that next year after I finally hired an acquisition manager.
Awesome, man. So, I want everybody to listen to the journey here. So he started off going out to see the houses first, realized that there was a better way, hired an acquisition specialist eventually, and did 7 figures the second year in business. Now, was it an easy transition going from understanding how to do it by looking at houses versus making offers over the phone? Again, offers over appointments. Was that an easy transition for you?
Somewhat. I would say, I mean, surprisingly so. It was more surprisingly easy than I thought it would be. Because what I found, like as I tried to show him and show this acquisition manager, what I found is that I could start to base my offer prices off of as is sold comps and what investors were buying properties for.
Right.
If I based my offer off of that, I actually was able to get to a number that worked damn near better than when I was actually at the property. Because even like when I was at the properties myself, like, I do repair estimate, I would still look around, see what sold. There was still a chance that I wouldn't hit the right number. I would get under contract too high and wouldn't be able to sell it. Well, the drop off wasn't major. It was actually about the same once we started just making offers based off of what sold. And I found like a trend. I found that there was only a few different types of comps: homes that have been sold to somebody that was going to renovate a property, homes that have been sold to landlords, or homes that were sold move-in ready. And I could look in the price history and find what they usually sold to that investor for, and then just base my offer off of that. I would subtract out $20K from what I could see an investor bought a property for, a similar looking property. And then that would be my maximum allowable offer. Once we started to make our offers like that, we were locking up deals with margin that worked.
Got you, man. And, keeping that in mind, what are some of the biggest misconceptions investors might have getting started doing this?
The biggest one is that you have to go to a property in person to do a deal like that. I think that was, that's something that, even some of the best, some of the brightest, some of the biggest real estate investors, wholesalers, just feel like you have to go to the property, you have to build rapport at the home, and that you cannot do this virtually. And I'm here to say, like, you can 100% do this business virtually and base your offers off of what you see that's sold in the area, similar sold comp.
So it just takes a small mindset shift at that point, right? Once you understand 100%. The numbers, would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. Because I mean, look, for even me, I didn't really believe out the gate. I had to be shown otherwise, that it would actually work out. But it was tough for me in the beginning. I didn't think that. I think I always felt compelled to drive to somebody's house. And when I stacked up the results versus each other, I realized, like, look, I'm not getting to these properties. I'm not submitting offers, and we may get a contract. But once we actually started to consistently do things that way, we were sending out so many more offers, and we actually more consistently started to do deals and get properties under contract.
Got you, man. So what are some of the obstacles investors might face when it comes to transitioning into making offers over the phone?
Yeah, I mean, some people, out the gate, one thing that you have to be able to do is have a longer conversation. You have to be very comfortable over the phone, right? You have to be able to build rapport over a phone call, which, it can be tough. But what I've done is I actually developed a script for my team members to actually kind of go through the property, slow things down, make sure that they, clearly ask permission, warm up the seller lead, diagnose the problem, discuss the solution, make the offer, try to get close, boomerang. Like, there's a step-by-step sequence that we follow. And I actually, I share that script. I've shared that script with people in the past. So if you want, any of your viewers or listeners want to check it out, I have this script that I've used, successfully to train someone to be able to, like, walk them through the entire process and submit offers at different price points, to, ultimately get to your maximum allowable offer.
Cool, man.
And it kind of built in an anchoring system for you as well, and which is something that I learned along the way. So that was a super big shift and very important resource in our business.
So listen, if we had to give our listeners a step-by-step process on how to go from A to Z, right? Soup to nuts. So if they're already getting leads and they needed to make an offer over the phone, what would be those 5 steps?
Yeah, good question. For one, you need great data, right? So let me actually taking a step back. You want a good list of prospects, because you can go out and find people that you assume have a level of motivation, probate leads, eviction leads. You want to start with a good base, right? And then you want to skip trace them the right way, right? You want to have a good data to find the right phone numbers for these homeowners.
So just to stop right there for a second, what do you feel is the best list to start off with?
Honestly, look, if somebody kidnapped my kid and said I had 30 days to pay them $10,000 or do a real estate deal, I'm calling probate leads. Yep. I'm calling probate leads from starters. I'm going to go down to the courthouse, I'm going to pull these probate leads, and I'm going to reach out to those homeowners because you just know that they will be selling. It's a high likelihood that they'll be selling.
So you're going to start off with probate leads.
For sure.
And then you're going to skip trace the leads.
Skip trace them. I like batch skip tracing.
Okay.
I think that's one of the best for non-regulated data. I mean, we use LexisNexis in-house, but if I just didn't have that account, I would be using batch skip tracing. And then I would make sure that I, have a high the high contact rate way of reaching them. So some people send mail, some people send SMS, some people call. So I would either call or SMS these homeowners. So that would be number 3.
Pretty much what we're doing right now as well. We still do direct mail, but we use it spotty when it comes to following up. But right now, to get the most touches, we're doing SMS and cold calling. That's what we're doing.
Same here. Then I would make sure that I use a triple line dollar. So a triple line dollar for my follow-up. And I can say that because for us, even when we get a lead via SMS, we put it into our dialer because I want to very rapidly go through those leads. So I can get a lead from anywhere and we're going to add it to our dialer and assign it to our acquisition manager. So not just the cold call leads. That's something that, I learned in part of that process is that when we would cold call them, a lot of, the gurus and my coaches would say, hey, you get a lead, you send it over to Podio and then you hand dial and you go on appointment. It's like, nah, we want to keep them in the dialer. We group them and we set a follow-up for them. And so the acquisition manager can fly through those leads. As soon as he goes live, he just jump directly into the acquisition manager script, take them through the process and submit the offer.
So are you using Mojo Dialer or?
In-house, we're using Call Tools.
Okay.
But I show a lot of my coaching students to use Mojo Dialer because that is, I think, the simplest, high utility, dialer, even if that's the right term. But I think that's the best, most effective, easy to use dialer out there is Mojo. But once you have a bunch of cold callers, that can dial into one campaign, then you can switch over to Call Tools. But it's just a bear to get it going. Yeah. It's a lot of things that you have to kind of set up ahead of time. So, but we keep our leads in the dialer, even in Call Tools. But that, look, when I transitioned from Mojo to Call Tools, we lost a lot of opportunity because it was a very difficult transition. So if you do think of, if anybody listening is considering switching like CRMs or dialers, make sure that you know what you're doing when you, as you get into it, because it can really slow you down.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so then lastly, look, I'm going to want them to send out 50 offers each and every week. It's the speed at which you get through those offers. We use an automated process in-house where it's kind of like a web form where you can just input the fields, seller's name, address. Our stuff is already in there and hit send, and it'll merge a document and electronically send it to the seller. So we can very quickly get those offers out. So my acquisition manager could be on the phone and just and hit send, and it'll go direct you DocuSign.
How many leads would you say is taking you in order to make 50 offers a week? Like how many leads are you sending out? How many phone calls? What are like the KPIs looking like?
Yeah, I mean, it's about 60 leads. About 60 lead. I mean, because we send offers to everybody, even the retail people. Because you never know. We've had plenty of times where a homeowner was like, "No, I want the world," and then they changed their mind like after they actually received something in the mail. They came down a little bit. So we send it to everybody, but there are times that people will ghost us where we can't get them back on the phone.
Right.
So I would say for every 60 leads or so generated, we're sending like 50 offers or so. It's a pretty one-to-one comparison.
Yeah.
And then
how many prospects are you hitting to get that 60 leads? Meaning how many?
Good question.
Text messages are you sending out? Or cold calls?
So I would say more so from the phone perspective. It's about 100 or so calls to get 10 to 15 leads.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. To 10 to 15 contacts, one or 1 to 2 leads, right? And so you kind of scale that back a little bit. But to get, I would have to look at the numbers in essence, but we make about 3,000 calls. She makes about 800 calls a day. And I'm expecting like 5 or so leads from that, right?
800 calls per day?
Yeah. So if my main cold call on the dialer, it's about 3,000 calls for the week. But when it's live ringing, it's 800 dials. The contacts is less than that. But and then the leads generated from that, about 5 to 6 leads per day. So I would have to back into the numbers. I know kind of the highlights of her KPIs, but back into how many calls to generate a certain amount of leads. I'm expecting, like I said, every day, if she's dialing 5-6 hours, I'm expecting 4 to 5 leads every day. And throughout a week's worth of time, if for us, our KPIs is about 25 leads for one signed contract. So I got a cold call that's going to work all week, and we should get us a contract that week.
Yeah, that's usually that's actually the nationwide average. Between 20 and 25 offers should get you one contract. The more experience you get, obviously that can alter the numbers. It can be lower. But for most people, yeah, it's going to be about 25 offers to get a really good deal. So yeah, those numbers
that jumped around a little bit when COVID started. For us, that it went up. Like, it took us a while to get
the contract
beginning of this summer, but I see it leveling back out. So I'm excited about that because things are getting back to normal in our business. But that we were tracking that, like, man, we sent out a lot of offers, making a lot of calls, and not getting the results that we're used to. So I'm glad to see things kind of simmering back down now.
Yeah, man. Ironically, in my business, when COVID hit, it we were just, deals was just coming left and right. It was almost like it would normally take us about 7 to 8 offers to get a contract. It was like every 2 to 3 offers we made, we were getting contracts. And a part of that is because we do creative investing as well. So we present the way my business is set up, we do wholesaling and creative. So if a wholesale deal won't work, we're going to be making a creative offer. So we're able to get more deals that way because of it. So it's just kind of crazy how, honestly, 2020 has been one of the best years since I've been in business financially because of that situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So one thing that I didn't speak to specifically, so I had originally in 2017, I actually partnered up with another investor. So mid 16, 17, 18, our biggest years was with the partner, but he had started to work on another business. I started to lead a monthly meetup, REI Live, and people can check that out. Brian Tripp,
that's
he's
my
good
boy,
buddy,
man.
Yeah,
shout out to Brian Tripp.
Yeah.
I actually had him on the podcast as well.
Dope. It's a few of us. So it's REI Live Columbia, REI Live Sarasota, REI Live Orlando. I have Atlanta, and of course Brian has Birmingham.
Nice.
But I started that last year. I started coaching last year, and so me and my partner actually dissolved our business efforts beginning of this year. But the team, continue. I continue to work with the team, and so we had less callers. Beginning of COVID, similar process, and similar business setup. But COVID hit us differently because I know I have a few folks in the mastermind that, they said in their market, they were doing very well. I heard in other markets, it wasn't as hot. So I know, a market has definitely, affected different people different ways, geographic area, how their team is made up, and then what they're trying to do. So it is my goal, going into this next year to bring somebody in that's specifically focused on creative financing deals.
Absolutely,
so that,
man.
I don't get that shiny object where I'm trying to figure out everything, but I'm going to bring somebody in specifically to focus on that. So I'm not leaving those opportunities on the table like it sounds like you're taking advantage of.
Yeah, all right. So I started off as a rehabber 2002 to 2006. Then I started wholesaling in addition to rehabbing. I started doing creative investing probably around 08, 09, in addition to what I was doing. And then I got into new construction and stuff like that. We built 33 houses last year. But I slowed down on that, not knowing where the market was going, which was a good move because COVID hit. And I didn't even, it wasn't like I had the crystal ball, but it just worked out that way. But
you say it's best to train everybody on your team to be able to take advantage of those type of deals or make those type of offers? Or do you have somebody specifically like bat and clean up? Like, what's the best way to implement it into your business?
So the way we have it set up, so every deal we look at, every lead that comes in to us is a deal, right? Because we're going to make something out of nothing, no matter what. So I train every single person. I have one guy on my team who manages everything, and he understands how to make the creative offers and the wholesale offers. Everybody on the team understands how to make a wholesale offer. But when it comes to the creative stuff, rather than teaching the entire team how to make that creative offer, they send it over to Justin. Justin then goes ahead and he'll analyze it and say, okay, this is what we can do with this deal. In the beginning, he needed to verify that stuff with me just to make sure he was on the right track. But once he got it, he got it. So at this point, I believe I'm going to need to train another 1 or 2 people, because if Justin ever gets sick or something like that, I don't want my business to be vulnerable.
Same.
So I believe in having multiple people understanding, but I don't believe the whole team needs to understand.
Yeah.
You get 3 people on a team, you should be fine.
Right. So, but does your team ask certain questions to know when to send it over to Justin?
Yeah, exactly. So there's 2 questions at the very end of my sheet that they'll ask. And if there's a yes on one of those answers, then they're like, Justin, let's we're always going to take the creative approach first, because our main goal is building passive income over wholesaling. But if it's just not a good deal, we're probably going to try to wholesale it if we can't maximize the profit on it. So we're always looking to go creative first, then go back to wholesaling if the deal doesn't make sense for us.
Yeah. Have you shared those questions with your listeners?
I've shared it. I actually have a video up on YouTube. I gave the script away, so it's called Seller Script Review or something like that. I can't remember. But what I'd like is for the listeners to go through yours and mine and kind of combine it, put the 2 together, because we make offers over the phone as well. Our business model is set up a lot like yours, where I don't know when the last time I've actually gone out and
me neither, bro.
Seen a house. I'll be honest though, I do shoot YouTube videos where I do go out. People like to see me walking through the house, but honestly, man, that stuff is unnecessary. You don't ever need to go see a house. And that's what I'm trying to portray. That's what I'm trying to get across to people. You can operate your business completely virtually if you just know how to do it. And that's what I try to teach on my end as well, man. So although it's sexy, it looks nice to walk through a house on YouTube and all that, and make it look like you're doing something. In reality, man, I'm just wasting time.
Well, the interesting thing that you said, as far as people being able to combine the script, is I built that script based off a combination of other mentors and thought leaders that have shown me different things, such as toebacks, make like advanced agreements, such as John Martinez has some some different tactics and techniques,
Mm-hmm.
the Black Swan theory, the Ackerman method. So we do the anchoring system where we go to like 66% of Mayo and then work our way up in different offers,
Yeah.
levels, like in reducing increments to get to your Mayo, also never split the different techniques.
Yep.
So like all of that is what I've put into that script. And once I did that, like that was like my gem, like my crown jewel for the business, because it allowed me to put anybody in that situation, that seat, that could literally take people to the process, talk to them, and have a way of making an offer. So, I mean, definitely, I think if, adding, I'm going to be wanting to add some of those questions from your script into mine, just to continue to get us, so we're better able to compete and do business with more homeowners and ultimately help add value to more homeowners' lives.
Absolutely, man. And that's exactly what the end goal is, right? To add value to people's lives outside of yourself, man. You'd be surprised how much of an impact you have on the people that surround you and the people that you're able to help at the end of the day as well. Great call, man. So obviously we've been talking a lot about the script. Where can our listeners get that script?
Yeah. So right now, if they go over to my main website, sendmoreoffers.com. So if you go over send more offers, there's a pop-up that'll ask, if you want to leave your information to receive the script. But while you're there, there's social links for me at the bottom. If you want to follow me, join the Facebook group, etc. But it's sendmoreoffers.com, and everything right there is on the homepage. And I love to connect with folks. People send me DMs all the time, and I like to share information as I feel inspired to do so. Hop on live, hop on, IG, Facebook. And so go over to sendmoreoffers.com and you can check that stuff out.
Yeah, I'm going to link it in the show notes in the description box as well. Also, I'm going to link all of Brandon's social media links. So be sure to definitely check them out. Obviously, in order for us to learn, we need to read more books, right? And we need to actually do. To me, doing is the best teacher. Let me ask you this. What are you currently reading right now?
Good question. So what I'm actually currently reading right now is So You Want to Start a Podcast. Is the name of it. But I'm legit reading that book right now. I'm like on page 125.
Nice.
Ego is the Enemy. I still haven't completed that. That's another one that I'm reading right now. One of my favorite authors, Ryan Kelly. But I'm reading those two right now.
Cool.
Like
I'll link them in the description box, man. So I'm assuming you're going to be starting a podcast soon then, huh?
Yeah. I'm excited about it. I think that's one of the ways that I can continue to give back without, we talked about this when we met, recently. You did a great job, sharing with us and me and my mastermind some great information about the info sharing space and your history, your backstory, how you run your business virtually. That was a great meeting. But I want to be able to do and leave some YouTube videos, right? But for me, all the kids, business, like I didn't want to always have to be in front of the camera. So I feel like a podcast is a great way to give back and still be able to share that gift with other people. So I'm excited.
Do both, man. That's what I do.
Yeah. I'm gonna let you definitely bring you on. Definitely. So you're gonna be one of the first guests.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate the opportunity. Listen, man, if you had to give our listeners some last minute advice, some last final words, what would those words be?
Yeah, 3 things. The 3 C's I always share, man. Be consistent, continue to learn and develop yourself, and seek coaching, mentorship. Though with those 3 things, you will have success in this business or any other business. Get a mentor, develop yourself, and continue to be consistent in whatever you do.
Love it, man. Listen, Brandon Barnes, guys, check him out on all his social media platforms. Also, check out his script. He's providing it to you for free, graciously, and he's doing a lot of deals right now. If you guys understand how important it is to make offers in your business, in order to put it this way, if you're not making offers, you're not making money. If your phone is not ringing, you're not making money, and you can't make the offers. So you got to be able to get the phone ringing. Brandon talked about probate leads today. You got to be able to make offers if you want to get to the bag at the end of the day. and Brandon is showing you exactly how to do that. So listen, if you need to go through this podcast again, there was a lot of key gems dropped in it. And more importantly, take action with the information. That's how you're going to get the result that you're looking for. Make offers, get money at the end of the day. Listen, it's been a pleasure having you guys listen in on this podcast today, and looking forward to having you again. Take care.